Hey, sweet friends, welcome back to our Disney World themed set. These are the tutorial videos where I break down how I do every single design in this set. Now, this is a little bit different than I normally do. Normally, I cram all of these into one video, but I knew I had so many designs that this would be a ginormous video, so I decided instead to just break them down. So if you're wanting to see every single one of these designs, be sure to go to my YouTube page and click on the playlist, and you will find a Disney World playlist that has all of these together. Now, we have done quite a few designs so far. We have made our Mickey Mouse character in the last video, so if you are curious how to do a Mickey face, then please go check out that video. But for today, we are going to be talking about Minnie Mouse's bow. So let's get going. Welcome to Rock City Cookies, where we talk about all things cookies. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching. Now, in my designing of this set, I knew that I had this cookie set was for boys and girls, so I knew I had to represent Minnie Mouse just as much as I represented Mickey Mouse. And because I did a Mickey Mouse head with his pants kind of as the inspiration behind the head itself, I knew that I wanted to also have a cookie that was a representation of Minnie Mouse. And so one way to do that is to do her bow. Now, this bow cookie cutter is one I already had in my stock of cookie cutters. So I know it's not exactly the same bow that Minnie Mouse wears on her head. I am always a fan of using whatever cookie cutters that you have on hand. That way, you're not wasting by buying a new cookie cutter when you already have one that can work. And also, you're not cutting into your profits on this set by having to order so many new cookie cutters. So use what you have, and I had a bow cookie cutter for other sets that I've used. But if you have a Minnie Mouse bow, then you're more than welcome to, of course, purchase that or use that on your own. So even though this isn't an exact replica of Minnie Mouse's bow, we are still able to really show that this is a cookie that's representative of Minnie Mouse simply because of the color and the styling that we do. Again, like a lot of our other cookies, this cookie is going to have to be done in stages because we can't let our icing touch or it loses its definition, which in turn means it's not as cute. So in order to do that, you have to think about what areas potentially touch and try to avoid that by working on different areas at one time and then going back to the cookie later and then working on the other areas. So after I outline and flood, I'm going to go ahead and give our bow some of those Minnie Mouse iconic polka dots while my icing is still wet. I like wet on wet technique for fabric because with fabric, all of the colors blend together. You don't have on a bow, you don't have the polka dot sitting on top of your actual fabric of the bow, right? They blend together. So you're going to want to make sure that you're also putting your polka dots on your flood icing while it's still wet so that actually ends up blending together and it's all one smooth surface. When I do dots of any kind, I tend to always try to do the middle of a section first and then I work my way out. I find that tends to give you the most consistency for where your dots are placed. So I usually start straight down the middle and then I work my way out, alternating where I put the dots. And then once I have placed all of my polka dots on this cookie, I'm going to let these two sections dry under a fan. And once they've dried enough that I feel like I can move the cookie without breaking the icing, then I'm going to work on the other two sections and flood them and put the polka dots, the wet on wet technique with the polka dots on those sections of the cookie as well. So again, you're going to go with that white dot, you're going to go down the middle of your cookie, and then you will work your way to the left and to the right. And I do have to say I'm using a thicker consistency here. It's not like super thick icing, but with dots, if you use too loose, too thin of an icing, then your dot will spread when you do the wet on wet technique. And whenever you're wanting to have a look that is very defined and very, like if you're doing stripes with a wet on wet technique or dots in this instance, you want that icing to stay put exactly where you put it. You don't want it to spread out because then the dots could join together. So with the dots on this wet on wet technique, your flood icing is going to be your normal flood icing, but the dots need to be just a tiny bit thicker consistency. It's really and truthfully just the outline consistency that I use when I'm outlining my cookies. So after all of those sections have dried, then I'm going to come back and do the middle of my bow. Same thing, red icing with the white dots when the icing is still wet. I'm going to let all of that dry, and then I'm going to come back and outline my bow. I just felt like it was missing a little something, so I wanted to give it just a little bit more detail, and I'm going to accomplish that by outlining my bow with black icing. So I'm going to follow the curve of my bow, and then on the top, and then just the tail part of the bow, the part that's hanging down, I'm also going to do like the little banner look on those and make sure I have my nice and crisp little lines to really accentuate the details of my bow. The final step for our Minnie Mouse bow, I thought would be cute just to put a little bit of yellow on this cookie because my colors of this set are red, black, white, and yellow. And so if I can incorporate all of the colors onto a cookie, I'm going to try to do that. So I thought adding just a little Mickey head in the middle of our bow would be a cute addition. And that's it. We are done with this mini bow cookie. Next up in this series is going to be our Minnie Mouse cookie. So this will be our next character cookie. That video will go live in just a couple of days. I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.